screaming from your soul. We watch it fall. Now you come to walk on. Come and set your light through. Just set your light through before we're only whispers in the wind. You can turn my world upside down, a rush like I've not felt before. I can trust myself. I need you to make it turn. I know. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me? We won't leave it to chance. We can't wait our romance. We'll never be the same again. I could keep the light from turning into darkness. You'd be my escape. What have we been told? Easy to unfold. Future might seem average, but we're getting close. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me? We won't leave it to chance. We can't wait our romance. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me? We won't leave it to chance. We can't wait our romance. We'll never be the same
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We're here for tonight's show, Weebs of the Ring of Monday Night Raw. Raw before the Saturday night main event. This is a Stampede, and we had a big night that started with Gunther finally opening his damn fucking show.
Stampede.
He finally opened, but he just was not the person alone. He was interrupted by Finn Balor, but then somebody interrupted him, Damian Priest. So what does that lead up to? A triple threat for this Saturday. But that was the only thing that was connected to the Judgment Day. We had the main event as well for Rhea Bloody Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. Anything goes for this match. But then we had Liv Morgan versus Dakota Kai as our title picture. But then for our mid-card stories, we had White Six versus The Miz and Final Testament. They didn't do the main event like many people thought that would have been. But they started at the 9 o'clock hour, so still something in the mid-o'clock show. But then we had an interview of the CM Punk Retribution that spoke about Seth Rollins, that wanted to work for free, learn from him for free. CM Punk only cared about the money. Would you have taken that offer if you was in his position? Let us talk about it. Other than that, we have the IC tournament continue with Lyra Valkyria winning, being victorious over Ivy Nile and Zelina Vega. Myself, I wanted Zelina Vega to win, but that's a biased decision. We'll talk about it. And the last thing is Kofi and Xavier Woods try to explain themselves, rob the camera from our boy Stu, but then everyone got booed for him. Even louder than Dominic Mysterio. That is something. So without further ado, guys, let's have a good night. Let's have a good show. And welcome to AniMA W3 Studio of Weebs of the Ring.
With anime in their souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control, we are a trio of weebs who love the entertainment of professional wrestling. So allow us to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling events of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions on what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all nerds out there. So be sure to grab your steel chair, yell for the table, and get put through an experience unlike any other. Brought to you by AniMA W3 Studio. We are the Weebs of the Ring. This is our podcast. This is our post-show discussion, talking everything to do with Monday Night Raw tonight. Hopefully everybody's having a good Monday. We got the start to the week, but we got the ending of the year coming up, and we've got another show to kind of get ready for. We got Saturday night's main event this Saturday live on, I think it's going to be on Peacock as well, but it's definitely going to be on NBC and wherever you can probably stream it for, legally, of course. But yeah, hopefully you guys are going to enjoy the night of that, but we're not going to talk about that. That's Saturday. We got Monday night here. I, of course, am your world champion Whawkins to kind of give you guys the Raw talk that is on our Monday nights. And I am never alone in this endeavor, for you see, I have two lovely gentlemen with me. First up on my right shoulder, we have the legend himself, Vash. Vash, how you doing tonight?
I am great. The visionary legenddvash is here to grace your presence, to understand that Seth was hurt. My boy, my prodigy, my mentor was hurt. He said, how is it that you've known each other for 20 years, Sami Zayn, and the first person that you thought that would hurt Jay was me? And, Sammy was wrong. Seth, you was talking crazy last week, so I get it. It's what it is. But, man, it hurts.
Yeah, Seth was talking a little crazy, but we'll get into that when we get into that. And of course, as always, we've got the man himself, kind of taking it chill vibes right now. Maybe a little bit of an 8 Mile look going on tonight. The genius of the mat himself, DropThisBox. Drop, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Definitely am getting invested. Each episode so far, especially with me and you talked about on Friday when it comes to this whole trade shuffle thingy-majig, whatever you want to call it.
And by the way, great conversation for this past Friday, guys.
Oh yeah, we went about an hour talking about that.
It was pretty much the main story that we talked about.
Yeah, it was. I was impressed. I thought it would have been a bit shorter, but I was impressed of how. But you guys made up great points of the perspective of how it could change the landscape of both shows. So it's a good conversation that you guys brought up.
Yeah. But yeah, Drop, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing pretty good.
Good, excellent. Well, hey, we're not gonna waste any time tonight because we got, again, Monday Night Raw. We got some setup to go for Saturday night. We got another match added to the card and a match that got a little bit extended too for Saturday night. Some teases that might be coming up to as we, not only end the year but start the road to
The road.
WrestleMania coming up soon. So let's just kind of dive right in. We got a headline story tonight. The Judgment Day, they were kind of all around Raw tonight. We had 3 segments that really dealt with the Judgment Day all throughout the night. And let's just kind of start with our main event here. We had Rhea Ripley taking on Raquel Rodriguez in an anything goes match. So basically, no DQ, no count out, pins and submissions had to happen in the ring, all that stuff. But yeah, so the match happens. Rhea wastes no time in going after Raquel early on, and honestly, this match was all Rhea until Liv came out to help Raquel because hey, Raquel is such a great bodyguard. Everybody, she's so good. She's on that Camille level right now. If any of you pay attention to AEW stuff, but hey,
So-
Io comes out to kind of even up the odds, and Rhea puts Raquel through a table with a good riptide and a win and a nice tease to what we might be getting at WrestleMania. But guys, I need to hear from you guys. What'd you guys think of this match overall? And just like, I guess the presentation of Raquel in this match, because she's supposed to be Liv's muscle, but she was kind of being punked out by Rhea tonight. So Vash, I'm going to start with you.
I appreciate it because I have a few things to bring up because one, like overall about the headline story, the Judgment Day running Raw, I'm still glad we're coming to the close end of the year of 2024, and we started the year with Judgment Days running Monday Night Raw and still ending the year with Judgment Day ending Monday Night Raw, and I like that to see that it's been a crazy roller coaster for them. Because I remember 2 months ago, we wasn't a fan with the storyline of how it's been, very repetitive with Finn Balor and them, and how the Damian Priest storyline at Bad Blood has been very rocky, not good feud. So all those things now to in December where we are now, to see how it went from the male of them leading the charge in this feud to now Liv and Rhea and Raquel still having the feuds, but it seems like it's finally coming to a close or end much sooner than later. Depending on how what the Saturday ends. And I really am very disappointed to what you said as well with Raquel. Raquel has been doing better, by the way, for anybody I've seen her at G Post, great recovery that she has done since a year ago. So I'm very, congratulations. That is a huge triumph in anything that any person, human goes through. But when it comes to her booking as a bodyguard, security guard, she sucks. Anybody in any type of reason, so you'll be fired. Like, you're not protecting the person you're supposed to be hired for. So it sucks that when you're supposed to be a strong opponent and you're being very dominated by the face of Rhea Ripley. And that's something to me as a viewer, even as a critic, I feel bad for Raquel because I expect more of her. And that's something that I would have liked to see more, to see how can that story build for Raquel if you're really lacking the strength, or you always was, showing the back build, but you never could show it on the ring when you go against Rhea, that Liv needs to do the extra type of interference to actually hold against that for Raquel. I wish that wasn't the case.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, Drop. What do you think about all that? Like, especially things that Vash had to bring up as well regarding Raquel and her booking, I guess, as a muscle for Liv. I mean, she had to have her protection, like the person that she's supposed to be protecting. She ended up coming out, Liv did, to help Raquel in winning this match. So what do you think of just like Raquel's overall, I guess, presentation just kind of going into this match?
I mean, when it comes to Raquel in this current position that she's in right now, like, I get why she's with the Judgment Day at this very moment, because It's trying to give her something new to do so she doesn't have, the same thing going on that she did before. And plus, there's a lot of history between her and Liv because they were tag champions before. I understand all of that completely, and it made sense why Raquel fit in this whole entire situation with Liv and Judgment Day to begin with. But when it comes to like the overall booking here, I mean, it pretty much comes to the point where if you're booking somebody to be the muscle of your group, that should be the person that should pretty much be the most dominant one out of them all. You wouldn't have to worry about that person at all whatsoever. Like if I were to give an example, let's say that Zarya from NXT was Liv's bodyguard. And if you had somebody like that, she, I feel, would be a little bit more menacing because
10 times.
I've
10 times.
because I've seen what she's capable of since she's shown up on NXT, and she would really be that barrier that's really hard to break down just because of her overall presentation. And I think a part of it also has to do with how Raquel was booked before, because when she was back in NXT, she was booked very dominant. She was NXT champion once before over there. And sometimes it's like hit or miss when you go on the main roster. Sometimes things work out for you. Sometimes you have a slow start, but you take off. And when it comes at Raquel, I mean, it's just like a back and forth thing. And that might have some of the fans fall out of it because they don't know if it's believable or not. And like you said, she's supposed to be the muscle, but the person that she's supposed to be protecting is also is protecting her within this match itself, which I get it, because you add it to her and Rhea's feud, and then you add to the whole feud that Liv also has of Io as well. I get why it happens, but at the same time, when you have that label as a muscle, you should show that you're the muscle and that you're capable of doing things on your own. I mean, look at Gunther. Gunther's a good example. Gunther, whenever somebody tries helping him, he gets rid of immediately. You saw how he did it earlier with Damian Priest, which we'll talk about next after this segment. So it's like, you got to have a presentation like that where you don't let anything stop you. And it seems like just the littlest thing sometimes stops her, and then that's when Liv has to be put into the equation. And just to dive even deeper into this, since we're talking about the whole Rhea and Raquel, and I mean Liv Morgan is a factor in this as well. This is another reason why a lot of people at this very moment is finding the whole Rhea and Liv story a little stale, because they started off hot. Things were going good, but then after a while, you can only ride the wave for so long until you fall off the surfboard. So it's like they're at a point where it's like, okay, we're getting the exact same sequences playing out. Is there anything new going to happen again? How are we going to progress this to the next level? Like, I get they're trying to give Rhea like a serious feud when it comes to Liv Morgan, because the last feud she had was with Becky Lynch, and that was pretty much, a moment for Becky Lynch to help put Rhea over. But this right here, I mean, we got to really figure out when the finish line is coming up. I mean, I'm going to say the Netflix premiere, because they already said that's going to be treated like a PLE. You have the title defense there. You have Rhea take the belt off of there. I mean, I'm just trying to think of things to say, because I didn't really take that much out of this match, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah,
That's fine to say.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing with like this match and the match we'll talk about here in just a second. Like, that not much was really taken out of it, because like, and again, like I think I'd have I think I would enjoy this more if Raquel was booked a little stronger in this match.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not saying, completely batter Rhea Ripley and all that. Like, because Rhea does need to look strong and all that, But, like, Raquel is also big and strong, too. Like, and I'm pretty sure here, and correct me if I'm wrong with this one, Drop, like, I'm pretty sure her and Rhea did have a thing in NXT
They
that
did.
was
Yeah, they did.
pretty. Yeah, like it was pretty.
I
It was
actually
pretty intense.
I
You
recall
know?
I remember I don't know if it was for the title or not because my memory's a little bit fuzzy with this, but I do
Mhm.
remember Raquel putting Rhea inside of a locker and then shutting it. Because
Yeah.
it was a last woman standing match that they had, and they were all over the arena.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I saw clips of that over this weekend because I was just curious about it because I saw clips of it last week showing of the history. So I was just, watching, do homework over this weekend. And
Mhm.
that fight is the one I saw of the last woman standing. And that fight was much better than this one. Anything goes. I remember seeing on the
Yeah.
timeline today when people found out that this was the main event, people was in the comment section, oh, a great time to go bathroom break. I'm like, my dude, the show's over. Why you need to go back for break by the time the fight starts at 9:50? Like,
Right.
and I get it. People are not interested in this because Raquel's booking, and I agree, Whawkins. Like, if I was more invested by Raquel's booking, if it was actually more showing her, like, if it was more. Drop gave a good point. If we had a security type of player like Zardia from NXT, that would have been
Mhm.
better for Raquel. That we saw the speed, the strength, the quickness from Raquel from what we have seen her before, it would have been better. But if her booking
Yeah.
lately has just been too, I guess the word stagnant, like it's been too inconsistent to make it believable. Where this match of anything goes, it didn't feel like anything went. I didn't see them go around the ring. It felt like more
Mhm.
story driven instead of more wrestling involving pushing the story. It was just
It had.
waiting for the like. I feel like they were stalling to wait for Liv to
Mhm.
come out. Have the
Yeah.
choreography and have for Rhea to stay by the ropes to get Oblivion, and then after that we had Io came out. It felt like everything was timing and not just very
Mhm.
focusing on the wrestling match, and that's what annoys me the most. I love women wrestling. I love how each of these NXT, the women division, has been spectacular. They just had a great Woman Iron Woman Survivor match, fantastic.
Mhm.
And just to see where this match of anything goes, I was actually looking forward to it because I would love to see what could Raquel and Rhea do from years ago to now. What could be the difference? And it was very lackluster. Like, I'm very disappointed in it.
Yeah, because like it started off really hot, again with Rhea just not even giving Lillian Garcia the time of day to even give Raquel her entrance and all
Nope.
that and her introduction. So it's just like, okay, yeah, we're starting off hot. And then, I mean, another thing with tonight too, like, I really want to look into like some of the rules and regulations when it comes to these. There was no picture in picture tonight at all, like
Nope.
none whatsoever. And what sucks is the women's matches tonight really suffered from it because like
They
out
did.
of out of the four matches we got tonight, three of them were women's matches, which awesome, great, fantastic. But like it's hard to get invested in these matches when you give them 2 minutes for like their entrances and then like a quick little offense thing from one of the sides and then you immediately go to commercial break. It's one thing with the picture in picture because hey, I can still watch the action going on. I can still see what's going on and still kind of feel like I'm watching the match and all that. Even though there's an ad playing over the commentary, that's still fine. I'm fine with that. I can at least still be invested in the action and still keep the show going and flowing very well. However, again, when you start your matches and then 2 minutes later, it's an ad with no picture in picture, I don't know what's going on. Like that just sucks heavily. And like also too tonight, like there was so much time for promo, which don't get me wrong, promo time is good, promo time is fine. But like when it makes your in-ring action suffer on the weekly, it's not good at all. And I'm just it leaves me just counting down the days now to when we're on Netflix because hopefully like the ad breaks for that because there will be ad breaks because hey, how else are we going to pay for most of this stuff anyways, especially
I'm
on a live
curious.
streaming
I
and all that.
really am curious. How would that be on that first Monday? Because like, how would they do it? I'm really fucking
Mhm.
curious.
Well,
Because
I mean they would kind of do it how they do it now. It's just I think I don't know, because I pay for whatever I guess the top thing for Netflix is.
Yeah, the top
So
tier, the
because
$21 thing or $24.
yeah, it's like $21, I think. Because I think they did start putting ads on Netflix and all that.
I watch
So
Netflix and
yeah,
I don't get
okay,
ads on the top tier. From so far I literally used Netflix towards Blue Box like a day ago,
yeah,
so that didn't give me anything. Because I agree, I'm on the same page with you. This ad stuff tonight really took me out of it. Where when
hmm
I came back for the match, I didn't even rush to see it because the ads just was there, and
yeah,
it, even the woman match of the IC title, it happened so fast that I didn't expect the commercial to hit so fast where the IC title
yeah,
came back. I was still doing some cooking and I didn't even care to see it, which I wanted to see, Zelina Vega win and do all this. Sadly, she did it.
hmm
We'll get to that. But these ad things really do take the immersion. That's the word I'm looking for.
yeah.
The
There we go.
immersion out of it when you're
hmm
watching the wrestling thing. Like when you're there live, yes, you could just focus on it. You're gonna be here talking to friends, doing whatever it is, but you're watching the big TV screen or you're watching them from a far view in the small. But at least you have
Yeah,
the full aspect of it. But when watching at home and there is no picture to picture, it really takes you out when it's just commercial right off the bat, or is it back
hmm
to back? It really takes you out, and it as a viewer, it sucks. As a critic, even worse. Because how the fuck can you make content about it when you're not
yeah.
even able to criticize or critique it or analyze it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think okay, so one benefit from all of this tonight, from this whole main event thing, is the image we got at the end of the night with Io and Rhea both holding the title like they did. And I'm just like, oh, I'm just sitting there because I mean, if you guys have been listening to us for the past few months or anything, we've been talking about how main event or not main event, sorry, one of the matches for WrestleMania for that title, Io and Rhea, that would slap, that would hit hard, that would, mess everything up in a good way. And we got the tease tonight because, the title's right there in the middle of the ring because Liv dropped it because she's Miss Butterfingers and all that. And, like, you have Rhea and Io both pick it up and hold that title. I'm like, ah, man, I need it. I want it. I desire it. And it sucks that, Io's probably not going to get it this weekend, but she'll still win the Rumble, I think. Go on the Mania and hopefully get it there. I don't know. We'll see. Either
Hopefully.
way, it's going to be one hell of a match, but I don't know. Drop, what do you think of that image? Did you have any thoughts on that image that we had at the end of the night?
I mean, it was obviously put there for a reason because
Mm,
last year when we had that Cody and Roman showdown on that SmackDown, that was obviously Triple H telling us like, yeah, you're going to be getting Cody versus Roman part 2 next year, because he doesn't just do that just to tease it, because a lot of people might look at it and be like, oh, well, Rhea's in a feud with Liv and Io's in a feud with Liv, and they're obviously going after the world title. That's probably why they did it. No, because if you guys recall the WrestleMania, that little special they did like behind the scenes of WrestleMania, I believe
mm,
Triple H even said that he had everything planned out in advance. Like everything was like 75% done during the fall when it came to how he wanted to orchestrate WrestleMania. And obviously he knew that Cody had to finish his story, and that was the direction that they wanted to go down before obviously all the shenanigans came up with The Rock earlier this year. So it's like,
yeah.
obviously they threw that at us because we're going to be getting that match next year at WrestleMania. And I feel
Mm,
like it's the move because, like I spoke of before, as much as I want Io to win this Saturday, because trust me, I really do. If you want to get there, you got to get rid of the whole entire Rhea and Io beef so Rhea can move on to somebody else. And I feel like
yeah.
Io would. I mean, I'm still confident that she can win the Rumble next year because
Mm,
based on what I've seen so far as of recent, they seem to be putting her at a very good level when it comes to her overall
mm,
presentations on the shows. Like she's actually getting a lot more focused than she did prior, because I remember we were talking about like a couple months ago where she was like just going after the tag titles and stuff like that because she didn't have anything really going on. But now you see her getting pushed where she's like, okay, now she's revolving herself around Rhea and Liv. Now she was in the women's War Games matches. Obviously, you can't really have the War Games after by Io, but basically, she's the center of attention. So I still feel like we're gonna get that. And honestly, it was just a tease because Triple H likes teasing things earlier, and that's definitely a match I'm looking forward to because it's something that we haven't seen on the main roster yet. So it'd be great to see how their matches on the main roster compared to NXT. And if this is another match, you can definitely say, depending how it's structured, depending on who produces it, it could be a match of the year contender, depending on the sort of direction that they go down with it. Because I'm going to come out and say this. Like, I know a lot of people have been on Rhea's case lately because of her booking and everything like that, which I understand. But it's mainly the feud. It's not. I'm just gonna come out here and just be like that guy telling you as it is. But it's not Rhea's fault and it's not Liv's fault the way that things are going. It's just the creative. You got to look at the creative. You can't really blame the people involved. It's the creative. They're the ones to point the fingers at when it comes to how stale the feud may be, or it just feels like it's just running in a circle and there's like no sort of direction to get out of that circle. So it's like once Rhea and Liv, which realistically we did talk about, this should have been over like at a Bad Blood, but it's like once that's over, you're obviously gonna see things get back on track again. And that's the only reason why Rhea might feel the way she is, because of this whole entire shit going on with Liv Morgan. Once that's over and done with, you'll start to see things getting back on track again. Because this isn't just a Liv issue. This has been an ongoing problem ever since Rhea won the world title, and there really wasn't that many people for her to really feud with on Raw. And we've spoke about this on the show. So
I believe a year ago she had 5 people that she had to fight in a fatal 5-way just to have different opponents. Where it's like, and they did that almost for 2 months straight, and it didn't feel the need. Like there's no build up. It was like, oh nah, we're gonna have 4 of the strongest women to go against you guys to her just to make her feel more overpowered.
That's why they prolonged that feud with Becky for so long until Mania. They kept teasing it over and over and over again. And I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy here, but if I'm being perfectly honest, yes, a lot of these girls have potential to grow into something, into blossom into this beautiful flower. But if I'm being honest, Becky was the only believable person she really had as an opponent to go up against somebody. I mean, as much as as much as we love to see all these other girls getting attention, which they are now, thankfully, with the mid-card title, you can't really take it as a serious feud. If it's somebody like Rhea with a Becky Lynch, okay, I get it. Rhea with Charlotte, okay, I get it. Rhea with Bayley, okay, I get it. Rhea with Bianca, okay, I get it. Rhea with Io, like we saw tonight, okay, I get it. But you can't just throw, somebody else in there and expect it to, just really get you excited. But that's just why things feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't just throw like a Candice LeRae in there and be like, "Oh yeah, she's definitely gonna beat Rhea." Like, it kind of takes away that suspension of disbelief to be like, "Oh wait, she could have a chance," and it's just like, no. The way the level that Candice is at on the card, it's like she's not a believable contender, and that's nothing against the talent itself. It's just the creative at that point, because just like what you were saying, Drop, there was a point where it's just like, okay, who can realistically take on Rhea Ripley? And that's kind of the point we're at right now, and kind of like transitioning to like the other match too we had tonight involving the women's world title picture. We had Dakota Kai taking on Liv Morgan in a match. First of all, I didn't even know this match was a thing, so there's that right there with your whole booking and promoting your show and all that. But it's like, I found it hard to believe that Dakota would win this match, even though she's going on in, you know, the IC title tournament and all that. It's like, okay, why are we doing this match? Like, I get it because like the whole like story with, you know, EO Damage Control taking on Liv and Raquel and all that shit, but then you involve like the PFC and all this, and it's just like, okay, aren't we done with that? Like,
Yeah,
didn't
that's
we
another
finish
thing.
that when Dakota like came back from injury and all that? Like, didn't we finish all that? Like, and again, like this might sound like an ass backwards like complaint and all that shit because we're like, oh, we need to start building stars and all that, and
Yeah.
like the only way to build them is to have them, you know, booked on the show and all that. It's just like cool,
no.
neat, awesome.
I think it's
but
I think it's fine because audience need to understand. For us, it's not contradicting. We like good booking, not bad booking. We like booking when it's built with story, with characters, like we are building with the IC title, like we're building with the Tiffany, Naya. We're building slowly and steadiness, at least
Hopefully.
with a good booking. But
Yeah.
then when it comes to bad booking, when it comes to Pure Future Collective, not saying individually any of these girls are bad, but even when you have somebody like Sonya Deville who posts on Twitter and is salty that some of these other girls are being on this IC tournament, but she's not. But then you have nothing to show or back up in the recent months or recent years to show why you should be there. But then in story wise, it kind of shows that the girls, Dakota Kai being in this match when the IC title, the IC title tournament still going on, and you're going to be in the semifinals next week, and Dakota Kai is losing this match against the world champ. It doesn't help for
Yeah,
maybe the possible future mid card title winner to be losing against already the world title winner.
Yeah, see, that was my issue with this match. Is when I saw, I didn't even know this match was a thing until
so we're on the same page. Nobody
happened.
knew here that.
until they're just like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, Dakota's gonna be facing Liv, and it's just like,
Yeah.
wait, nani?
Yeah, so
What?
like when I saw Dakota come out at first, I actually thought it was going to be somebody with like Pure Fusion Collective. That's what I initially thought. I thought it was going to be like Shayna, Zoe, or whatever. But the fact that you have this match against Liv Morgan out of all people, like, yes, I get it. She went up against Damage Control last week, and obviously Dakota's a part of Damage Control, so in theory, maybe Dakota wants to get revenge on Liv because of what she did. But it's like you're booking her against the Women's World Champion, and you had her advance last week in the IC title tournament in the first round. Keep that in mind. And then the following week, you have her lose. Like, that doesn't really make any sense. I would rather it be one of those things where it's like you keep Liv's business separate, where if you want it to be like a Liv and Rhea or a Liv and Io thing, keep it like that. Not have like Dakota go up against Liv, lose, and then have Pure Fusion Collective come out and just,
It kind of looks very messy.
It doesn't book her, because if you're in this tournament, you're supposed to be booked strong. Like, you're not going to have Lila or Valkyria come out next week and have a match against Sonya Deville and lose when she's part of the tournament. You're obviously going in there as a competitor within that tournament to be booked strong so you can reach to the final, so you could win that belt. I don't think what they did here tonight was a very smart decision when it came to this, because a lot of people are really on the Dakota train right now. So seeing her put into this sort of situation doesn't really make any sense. Like, honestly, the best thing you could have done is, let's say there's a chance that Dakota does win, and it's not Lyra and it's not Kairi Sane. This is something that you do to set up that first feud that Dakota has with this IC title belt, where it's like, okay, Dakota gets the belt, she becomes the first Intercontinental Women's Champion, and then you can throw in that Sonya Deville beef that she has with Dakota. Then you start doing something with that. You don't do that in the middle of it, because I don't know what this goes along what we were talking about before when it came to the whole Raquel Rodriguez thing. When it comes to the overall presentation, you're not, for one, even with the Perfusion Collective getting thrown in here, they're not believable at all, and it's not their fault. It's the way that they're
Mhm.
being booked. If they're not believable, it's really hard to take them seriously when all they do is they're always booked to lose every single time. I mean, you throw somebody
If I
in
may
there.
add, towards the idea you said about Dakota and Liv, would it have helped that if Pure Fusion Collective was not involved and Liv won cleanly because their match was nice. I do want to say they had great choreography in the wrestling. All that sequence was good. Would have been nice that Liv won against Dakota and say, you should know your place. I am the top. Even if you like, if she Liv did some type of mic work or we heard it through the camera, if she said something in the line saying, you should know your place, I'm the top of the women division, even if you win this tournament, you will only stay as mid card. Like if that was something between the lines that was said, I feel like would have added more value to at least if they fought and lived in a promo or something said after to feel more value of that win.
Honestly, that would have damaged the new women's IC title.
Actually,
'cause
you want to
then-
know what he just said that reminded me
Yeah.
of? Roman
What?
Roman Reigns during the WrestleMania build when it was Cody and Seth going up against Roman and Rock, and Roman cut that promo on
that too, yeah.
on Seth's title, which made it
Mhm.
feel completely worthless because Roman said, "Isn't everybody that I competed against for my title going for that one? So all the losers
Yeah.
are going after against that title now." So pretty much with Liv saying that, this belt doesn't even have an owner yet. But if she went out and said that, that's her pretty much
Mhm.
burying the title right there, making it worthless. That's why I said earlier I wouldn't have involved Liv in the equation to begin with. Like if you want to have this little
All right,
beef,
I see it.
you want to have this little beef
Mhm.
with Perfusion Collective and Dakota Kai, keep it with like Zoe or Shayna, and then if she wins the belt, then you can do something with her and Sonya Deville since she is the leader of the group. They should have waited
Yeah.
to like do something right here because it's not good to like be booked in a tournament and then lose. The only reason why I'm okay
Yeah.
with the whole entire Naomi situation is because at least there's a potential story there when it comes to the whole Jade Cargill situation where this could be pushing Naomi to get some sort of heel turn because this could factor into her not being successful since she came back to WWE and she feels like the people around her are holding her down. That makes sense. The whole
Mhm.
thing with Dakota Kai, it's just not a smart business move, in my opinion.
I think
Agreed.
for
What's your
me, I think for me, it would have been a little bit better if you're gonna do the Pure Fusion Collective thing, like setting up Dakota Kai against one of them, like Sonya or whatever. Have them. I mean, I see the vision with like having them, being out there during the match, interfering, all that stuff. Like I see the vision. It's just in execution, whatever. I think for me, I would have preferred. So like, if you're so hell bent on having it be Liv versus Dakota, okay, fine, whatever. Maybe have it where like Liv does a little bit more cheating on her own. Kind of showing like her craftiness and all that stuff because like that's basically her heel character, and I mean you kind of see that tonight too because like in a way Dakota kind of out wrestled her at certain points, and
Yeah.
especially just the way she was moving around the ring and all that. So it's like okay story, but like have Liv be the one cheating more maybe, and then like at the end of the match have the PFC come out to beat down or whatever like. That would have at least been fine for me because like again like even though it's Dakota losing there's a bit more like cheating going on whereas like with this it was really just like because that's the thing Dakota had all four of them on the ropes basically like anytime Pure Fusion Collective got up bam right back down bam right back down it was only one little quick like oblivion which I'm not a fan of the that finisher but that's neither here nor there but like I don't know. I would have preferred just a little bit, just more like solo cheating from Liv. Like, oops, I accidentally exposed this middle turnbuckle. Oh, now you just hit your head on it. Like, shit like that. Like, just simple things like that, I think. It would have been more palatable for me, but again, that's that's neither here nor there with that. I mean, yeah, that the main thing. I guess we're setting up PFC with Dakota, but that also depends on if she's winning this or not. And the other thing I want to point out too, it's when Io and Kyrie came out for this. And there was a part where like Io kind of helped Kyrie up onto the turnbuckle like that. And that's when I noticed that there was a knee brace on Kyrie Sane.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Kyrie Sane is all right.
Yeah.
Because I want her to at least go far in the tournament,
Yeah,
you know.
I hope so.
So that kind of had me worried because like when Io was kind of helping her up, it looked like she was like actually like having to help her up rather than
Did
like
something happen
here's a
last
cool
week?
spot where like do what?
Did Dakota or did Raquel or Liv do something last week?
I can't recall, to be honest. I really can't. But I mean, she was able to do like a top rope dive and all that.
Maybe
so,
it
I mean,
was the
that's
Bahama.
fine.
Maybe it was Raquel's finisher last week on her, potentially.
Maybe might have been.
Because there's
I don't
another
know.
spot as well where she almost hit her head on the announce table today.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I did almost see that.
Oh, damn, I
man.
didn't notice those.
But yeah, I mean, Liv also kind of stands tall too, hitting Oblivion on Io. Which thank you, Io, for selling that move and being able to bump for that move, unlike everybody else who just kind of see. This is what I don't get. It's like
They laid
almost
flat.
almost everybody else, like Naya, for example, Dakota did it tonight. They all kind of like roll through the move rather than like kind of taking it down almost like a DDT, almost kind of like how Io did tonight, or like I think Rhea has too as well, like taking it like almost head first. I don't want to say, oh, take it head first because, you know, CTE and all that stuff, but it's like, make it look a little more dangerous than I'm just going to roll through with it because it doesn't look good like that at all. Oh, man. But I mean, that's basically our women's world championship picture here. Kind of thrown in with our, you know, IC title tournament and all that stuff. Some good things happening, but again, there's a lot of just nitpicks going on here, which is fine. You know, we're here to kind of talk about the show and talk about our thoughts and feelings and about all that. So, you know, that's good stuff about the women's world title picture, but we're not done with all the stuff about Judgment Day. We're not done with our world title pictures. We're going to transition now to our men's world title picture. We have Gunther, who's supposed to be taking on Finn Balor, but because of actions tonight, it is now a triple threat match between Gunther, Finn, and Damian Priest, because Gunther starts our show off to the delight of Vash, who loves our world champions starting off our shows.
As they should,
But-
you know. I feel like if you're running this show, you should be opening it.
Especially if Cody's
just
moving
depends
to
on the
Raw, then he
champion.
needs to open up SmackDown.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
hey, you should be opening SmackDown. It's gonna be quiet over there, it's my G. So you know, Gunther, this is gonna be last few nights in Raw. So you better be,
Yeah.
you know, thankful.
Yeah, exactly. So Gunther starts our night off. He comes out to the ring, tries to start to run down Finn, but doesn't get a lot of chance on the mic, at least to start, because Finn comes out with the rest of the Judgment Day. He's trying to talk trash with Gunther, but Gunther's having none of it. He's just like, hey, look, 8 years ago, you were fine. You were okay 8 years ago.
I love it. I love it.
You were best in the world for one night, and then you threw it all away. Now you're with the Judgment Day. Now you're with Street Trash. Now you're just like playing second fiddle to freaking Damian Priest. Like, you are nothing like you were back then. And that leads to the Judgment Day getting into the ring, about to beat down Gunther, but here comes Damian Priest. A big old brawl happens. Almost thought Gunther was going to put Damian through the table, but nope.
Me too.
Nope. No. Finn Balor comes in, attacks both of them, which I'm surprised. I'm kind of shocked that Finn didn't just let Gunther put Damian through the table. I don't know. That might be my one nitpick for it, but hey, Finn's standing tall thanks to the rest of the Judgment Day. Guys, how did we feel about this this
Drop,
segment here,
if
and I
you don't
guess
mind.
how do you feel about the match now becoming a triple threat?
If you don't mind, I will go quickly first because I also want to say a
Go
quick
ahead.
plug. For this coming weekend,
Mhm.
guys, is Saturday Night Main Event. That means me and Whawkins will be there. If you will be seeing this triple threat that just got announced of Gunther versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest, me
What?
and Whawkins will be there. Will we have any sweaters, shirts, any boards? Who knows? Depending on the weekend, we'll see and be when the time comes. But if you see
Yeah.
us, say hello to us because maybe most likely Drop will be having a solo stream that night covering
More than
Saturday
likely,
Night Main
yeah.
Event. If not, maybe we'll see if we'll have guests that weekend. Who knows? So I want to give you guys that quick plug that we will still be having a Saturday Night Main Event coverage by himself, Drop, or who knows with guests. But you will be seeing myself and Walkers in that weekend to be seeing this fight, that the brawl of the ring general Gunther, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor. And Finn Balor, you are one salty dude. And also, Dom, I hope you pay attention because he literally said to Gunther on the open mic night, literally with Dom walking down the ramp, he said, "You gave this match to nobody who deserves it, like Dom. You should have given it to a match like me who did deserve it." And Dom, you didn't give no reaction. You stayed quiet. I felt like you was being told that you are chopped liver, that you are second fiddle, that you didn't deserve this match. And I felt bad for you, my boy. You are a disappointment. But I understand for the story, so I can't wait to see how is this turn events. How would it lead up to Saturday? And three, Gunther, you should have just taken both of them out. You was undecisive. You had two opponents that you couldn't pick and choose. You should have just gone ham on both of them. And four and last, Damien, why the fuck did you come out? Because you came and take out fucking Finn, but then you got taken out by Gunther himself.
I mean, that's why he came out to take
Yes,
out Finn.
Finn, but I feel like
Yeah.
you should have known that Gunther was gonna knock you out too, because when Damien turned around, he got the clothesline mad quick from Gunther. He didn't
Mhm.
hesitate. He like, "Oh, you're open, you're free." Bam! I was like, "Damn, it's a disappointment."
I mean, they still have, they kind of have unfinished business. I mean, Gunther still has yet to beat Damian Priest clean.
Clean,
I mean,
that is true.
Yeah,
He
that's the
didn't.
thing.
there's still beef there and all that. But, like, yeah, I mean, that's just the thing. He's out there for Finn because, again, Finn was the one that ruined his opportunity to regain the World Heavyweight Championship. And even, Finn's the reason that Damien lost the World Heavyweight Championship. So, I mean, that makes sense too. And I'm kind of glad this became a triple threat. Not that I didn't want the singles match, but maybe now Finn and Damien can kind of maybe hash just a little bit more out. I'm still assuming we're going to get another singles match between the two, but
Yeah.
at least Gunther's involved and he can kind of smack them both a little bit on Saturday, which I am looking forward to hearing some Gunther chops live and in person. If anything, I'll be the person. I'll be like, "Hey Gunther, go ahead, chop my chest. Give me to like gasp for air and have a red chest and almost die. Yeah, that'll be great. Give that to me." But like that's gonna be fun as hell to listen to. But yeah, so Drop, I'm gonna transition to you now. How did you feel about this? Just this quick little, promo segment we had and this match turning into a triple threat now.
I'm honestly happy it turned into a triple threat because originally going into this match, I thought it was going to be one of those things where it was just gonna start off with Gunther and Finn, and then Damien was gonna come back during Saturday night's main event, and then cost Finn the same way that
Yep.
Finn cost him, which would have made sense story purposes if they decided to go down this direction. But I'm happy that they put Finn, Damien, and Gunther into this match together because now the match, even though Gunther is more than likely going over, at least it feels somewhat unpredictable where you could
Mhm.
have an outcome happen that you least expect, and that's the best thing about it. And it also opens up the door just in case there's another match that plays out that night So we don't have another run-in with like this match and then a potential main event, which I'm expecting a certain Snake to return. So
Yep.
that's another reason why I think they might have headed down this direction, so it didn't feel repetitive, and also just to at least give them both Gunther, and then once Gunther bends them both, I mean, if it was me, I would probably just have him do a classic Roman and just stack them both and pin them, because
I was just about to say that. Imagine if you
That
did
would be
that.
good.
Because-
Just put both of them on top. That would be amazing.
yeah, because you got to keep this in mind. So like bringing up the whole Netflix thing again. And I know there's a lot of people making their own ideas up of how Netflix is going to run things. I'm just going to come out and say it. They're going to be greedy. Me and Whawkins spoke about this, and they're going to get whoever they want. Doesn't matter who the fuck it is. They're going to get who they want. So, and the reason why I bring that up is if you have Gunther do something like that, that helps build dominance, and that helps him look like, even though he already is, a legitimate threat on that brand. So if he has other people run across him and you start building a story and a feud with them, it just makes him look more and more like a monster the more you build him throughout this World Heavyweight Championship reign that he's currently on. And if he's going to be one of your top stars in the brand, you got to make this guy look like God on that show. So if they were to do something like that, I wouldn't be against it. And also, like you said, I definitely expect another Finn and Damian match to occur out of this. And so far, judging on what we spoke of with that WrestleVotes report about Finn getting a singles push, I'm just going to come out and say it. Have Finn Balor beat Damian Priest. And then hopefully by the end of this year, have Finn Balor leave Judgment Day. Start off fresh.
Yes.
He already got a win over him. Why does Damian need another win? He doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I mean that's the thing. It's just like Damian Priest, he's a big enough character to where if he were to lose to Finn, he could easily rebound from that. And, you know,
yeah.
I mean,
Agreed.
hell, we're about to have, you know, a superstar shakeup again. So it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, they're going to be split after all of this, which
I'm
good.
I'm actually more of a fan of what they're doing with this now compared to the draft that we had earlier this year, because the
same here.
draft was very underwhelming, because I don't know if you can necessarily call it a draft, because it was pretty much the same people being drafted onto the same brand, besides maybe 2 or 3 new people. At least with this, they're actually trying. And I'll speak about it a little bit later when it came to the specific people we saw, but I'm all aboard with the whole Finn singles push.
To add my 2 cents, because I know that I didn't get to speak on the from the transfers from last week, and I know that I put some news for our overall thoughts from what we could talk about at the end. I'm very excited for this draft as well, because it feels very sports heavy. It feels very
Actually
from
feels
what-
like one.
yeah, exactly. Like it feels like a sport. It feels like a NFL season.
Well,
it feels like from what happened, I think yesterday or today of
the trading time.
the trading
this is
time.
like
Thank
the
you. That's
trading
the
window.
word.
So it's like it's not necessarily a draft. It's more of just like, okay, we're gonna trade some people over.
Yeah,
and all that.
it's
stuff.
trade
So it's like,
season.
okay,
And I love that. You know, if only, imagine in a realistic world of wrestling, if things could go and actually work out. Imagine if AEW was under the umbrella of TKO and we had like a trading seasons of like 4 shows, but now we're trading superstars. Imagine that actually could be successful, but like that's like in a far each future where money talks and actually creative people can actually work out together. That's like in a far reach future in an alternate reality. But yeah.
that just sounds like 2K universe mode with created characters. So
Exactly.
yeah,
You see, it does. It works. But
Yeah.
that ideally, realistically, excited for the draft and transfers for when we talk about it at the end. But overall, when it comes to this, when it comes to Gunther and Finn, glad for Finn to get this push. If the rumors are true, I'm happy for Finn because Gunther spoke some truth where it's needed for Finn. And I love how it shows that the creative team slash writing team slash Triple H knows what the fans feel outside of
Yeah.
this, because what Gunther said, it felt like a fan was talking about it, and Gunther even said it. I was a fan of you back in the day. Now you ain't on top no more. You've been a leader in the locker room. Now I need you to get back on your shit and do your thing. And I love that. It felt very genuine. And as somebody who hasn't seen the failure of Finn, or seen the Prince, or seen the, what's the other name he got? I think the Devil or something. Oh, the Demon.
Yeah.
The Demon, right?
Yeah.
The Demon. So I haven't seen these alterations of Finn Balor. I've seen only the past 2-3 years of the one time he had a hell match with Edge, and the past 2 years of him as Finn Balor from the Judgment Day. So I don't know these type of other characters of Finn. So I'm very excited if he does get this push. I'm on this ride, and I'm excited to be with you.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they're heading down that direction. I mean, bringing up the report again and looking at what Gunther said tonight, it definitely seems like they're following that pattern, because a lot of people have been very adamant about how they feel about Finn Balor's status when it comes to him not being a world champion in over 8 years. I mean, the guy, that's why I can't agree with people who are like, oh, I don't know, maybe Finn Balor like lost his touch. He's not really there anymore. Like, no, you can see it clear as day that he still has it. He's just not being put in that spot.
It just sucks that they're making him want this title, holding the world title, the tag team, and having JD McDonough who's also a good wrestler, who's great in the UK scene, who's also great in the NXT scene, and had a few great matches on there as well. So that's also disappointing part. But again, that's back to the booking with too many cooks in the kitchen, hard to balance it. So hopefully they've been finding the story and getting back into the rhythm. And it shows that with Gunther, stating the obvious, talking about the fandom for Finn and all this. So it shows that they know what they're talking about. They're trying to correct their mistakes, and they're trying to get better at it. So overall, in that aspect, I'm excited, and hopefully it helps with the surrounding circle around Finn Balor, with JD McDonough as well, because that's somebody who I want much better for him if you actually want to respect this title. Because Adam Pearce, you're speaking facts when it comes to Finn Balor, and I was hoping just for the fun of it that Finn Balor got told what Axiom and Fraser got told, like, hey, you're gonna be in 2 matches in that one night. I was hoping Finn Balor, like, hey, you're gonna fight in a triple threat, and you're gonna fight in his tag team for you talking all this shit. I would love just to see that, just as a reaction for fun. I knew it wasn't gonna happen, but it would have been funny.
Oh yeah,
I'm glad it's not, because of, again, it's that whole suspension of disbelief. Because like, if he did have to pull double duty, it would have been like, okay, well, now he's definitely not losing
Nathan
to Gunther
Fraser.
or winning to Gunther.
Yeah.
But like, and with the whole JD McDonough thing, like with JD, he's in this role, and it's kind of something that we see other people like Carmelo Hayes, for example, like they're in this spot where it's like they have to, kind of have to earn their stripes a little bit on the main roster. And again, it's just that whole level thing of just like, okay, we gotta, you're at this level right now, and there's gonna come a point where they're gonna, bump up that level. They're gonna almost kind of like a Tower of God kind of thing. Like they have to go through a test and all that to like go up another level and to like go up like higher in the tower and all that. So it's like,
that's funny that I was binging that show today.
See, that's why I thought about that.
I literally binged like 12 episodes of that today, so it's funny how you bring that up. I literally went from episode 8 to episode 17 today. So it's just funny how you say Tower of God. I'm like, yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, people must have seen the whole Discord notifications. You literally say mad pictures of you posting. So it makes sense. Yeah. You're right. Like you are climbing the hierarchy of to be the face, of to be the mid-card title and everything. So for JD, he needs to climb that, be part of the laughing stock of the jokes. All that working ethic of months and months will actually pay off. So you're right. Yeah. Just hopefully, I would love to see that for JD, because he's a great seller. He's been doing his job with, with Jelly Roll and all these other spots he has had over the past couple of months. but I'm hoping that 25 he also gets a little side push with him on the AC title with Braun Breaker or something like that, because I'd love to see that match in the future as well.
Oh yeah.
Right. And especially with Finn, because like Finn, he's been in that spot long enough now, like in that enhancement spot, where it's just like, okay, that's fine. We've done our thing with it. Great, awesome. Let's give him something more now. Let's actually like give him a reward for doing all this stuff, because I'm still salty at the fact that he lost that match to Edge. So thank you for bringing that up again, Vash. 'cause,
Anytime,
oh,
I'm glad to
I'm
bring
still-
remorse scars that are still not healed, and to bring them during the show where you could just put up that one bandage and just still be in pain.
Edge should have lost that match, but whatever.
Well, you know who
Anyways,
should have won? The White Six.
Actually, I disagree.
Yes. Yes, I think. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna let you two kind of go after this. So yeah, we're gonna transition now to our
Exactly.
mid-card stories. Let me just kind of give our little introduction for the Wyatt Six versus the Miz in the Final Testament. We had 8-man tag team matching going on tonight, and sorry, if you've seen any tag team match in WWE, especially on the weekly shows, you know how this match is going to end up and how this match kind of plays out a little bit. But these two teams battle it out as Rowan ends up taking the easy advantage against the Final Testament. But Scarlett gets involved later on by tripping up Uncle Howdy as he's trying to, I guess, go for like an over-the-top rope or like a suicide dive or something. I don't know what he was going for, but here comes Nikki Cross from out of nowhere, like underneath the announce desk and all that, to take out Scarlett. And with the ref distracted because of all that stuff, we have a returning Paul Ellering who comes out, blinds Uncle Howdy with like dust, flour, maybe with some of that cocaine, you know? It could have been some of that stuff. But hey, Miz had to eat a mandible claw, but he was saved by Paul Ellering because of that. And a final prayer by Karrion Kross gives the Final Testament the win. Now, we seem to have two different sides of who should have won and who should have lost. Booking this way, booking that way. This is going to be fun. It's probably because I'm watching the Game Grumps right now, going through Danganronpa 3. But like now I'm starting to feel like that, because there's a part in that game where it's like, okay, now we're gonna have like two sides like arguing about something. It's just like, okay, this side. So here we go. We're gonna have our arguments state.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Vash versus Drop here. Give me y'all's reasons on why. On each side of this.
For some reason, while you was talking about the cocaine, I was thinking of the scene
there.
Deadpool 3 when he was talking to Blind Owl, and he was naming all the different versions of cocaine, and one of them just stood out to me, and it was pixie dust. I was the same wavelength in my head with pixie dust, and then after he's like, yes, Kevin Feige knows all the versions, even pixie dust. I was laughing about that. But look, I love it when me, Drop, or any of the panelists, or even chat, when we have the different ideas or different perspective, what we would like to see at the outcome, because there's another one when it comes to the IC title that I know we're gonna have a different point of view when it comes to. So I'm very excited for this conversation, because when it comes to Y6, I'm happy that Final Testament won more after, because as much as I wanted Y6 to win, because I felt like the last one they lost, so it would have been nice for a 1-1 and then have a rematch. But not that I'm okay with it now, it's more that I read the comments on the timeline. It seems like fans are actually more happy that Final Testament won as well, because it shows that they say that you pinning Uncle Howdy or you pinning the White Six shows some type of recognition. It shows like a statement that you pin somebody in this type of high regard. It shows that you have a stamp of approval. So it seems like the fans are actually kind of like, oh, Karrion Kross, we fuck with him, Final Testament, it shows that. So I'm very happy about that. I still feel like the White Six should have won. That would help the story aspect. Not that Uncle Howdy has a win Karrion Kross has a win, so now it's a 1-on-1. So how are we going to continue on that feud? Maybe have a 1-on-1 match, but Karrion Kross not having a 2 over them is very curious to see now. Like more, how are we going to continue the feud? Who else is going to get attacked or kidnapped? Because last time it was the Miz. Last time before, after that, it was Scarlett. So now in my head is like, with this, I didn't expect this outcome. So now I'm more like, where are we going in this path?
Hmm. Okay, so you're more curious about where we're going now
Yeah.
since Wyatt Six lost this one.
Yes,
Okay,
because
alright,
in
you
my
know what?
head,
Yeah.
I thought White Six was gonna win, and now I have more type of avenues of where we can lead up to maybe a 1-on-1 match, or maybe 2 out of 3 now. How we're gonna continue probably a last man standing. Like I had ideas, options where it could have gone. Now that it's 2-0 now of wins, I didn't expect that. At first, I was like, "Oh, was it the best choice?" But the timeline has changed my perspective. To like, okay, this has actually worked out for them. This has actually finally has helped
Yeah.
the Final Testament, because I've been a big fan of Karrion Kross. Now the Final Testament more, I'm liking the Final Testament more now from what Karrion Kross has been doing with his vignettes online, and he's finally been
Mhm.
doing that. So how about you, Drop? I know that you was telling me in the chat before that that's good that the Final Testament won and everything, but I would like to actually hear your perspective now.
So the reason why I think it was a good idea for Karrion Kross in Pacific to pin Uncle Howdy is because you can't keep building his character with these ongoing stories when it comes to the feuds that he gets himself in. You can't always book that group as a loser, because the whole point of the new year was a new beginning for Cross, where once he formed that group that he's in now, that was supposed to be Karrion Kross's new beginning, and a lot of people had high hopes for it. I remember speaking about it when it happened on that SmackDown, and I remember saying that, okay, it seems like Triple H has an idea in his head of where he wants things to go, especially when you introduce the authors of a very
Yep.
dominant tag team. That got me convinced. Then obviously we saw how things played out throughout the year, and there's been a lot of downs with them. I feel like with this win that he had on under Uncle Howdy was needed, because you need to build Cross, regardless how people feel about him. You need to build Cross as a legit threat. You need to give him some legitimacy, regardless if it's big or small. And I mean, like you said, it was probably done by design, because it's supposed to extend the feud so we can see it blossom into something else. I don't think this isn't the end here, but this is just something that you needed, because what's going to happen if you keep hitting a pinata? It's eventually going to break. That's the authors of pain with Karrion Kross right now. They're just at the bottom of the barrel. The Wyatt Six, ever since they were formed, they've been on top for quite a bit. I mean, they've been on top for quite a bit. A loss like this isn't gonna affect them. They'll be fine. If anything, I mean, Karrion Kross in his group needed it more,
Yeah.
and also
that's
they
the- that's the
lost
thing.
32.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. See that, and that's the main thing. Like my biggest takeaways with this, first of all, finally getting Paul Ellering involved. Like he's barely been a factor
Yeah.
with the Final Testament since the group formed, and now you finally do something with him. So thank you for that, for that part. The same with Scarlett too. You could say, because like she's almost been a non-factor in a lot of stuff since the Final
Yeah.
Testament came to be, and it's like now she's actually kind of doing something. Part of that could also be because Nikki Cross is involved, so she has somebody else to kind of play around with and all that, and kind
And with
of
the acting,
work off of and all that.
it feels very exorcism, if that makes sense,
Mhm.
with the running away, the looking around.
Huh?
By the way, chat is not a bad thing. It just reminds me of it, and I love how they play forward in the aspect, which it throws me off.
Vash, you froze.
Yeah.
Oh, I
You
froze.
froze. like during your little spiel right there. You
Oh,
came
okay.
back,
Okay,
but
came back. I'm about to say I was just froze. Okay,
yeah, no,
cool.
it was
But
only
yeah,
for like a second or two. But yeah,
that's how my reaction is when it comes to having that.
okay. All right, perfect. And then the other thing I wanted to point out too, I like how we're using the Wyatt Six here because with most stars, you hope, okay, they're going to be built up for like title pictures and this, that, going down the line. But like with the Wyatt Six, they are a special attraction, and it's like, yeah, maybe later down the line have them, tag titles or something, or maybe a mid card title, but mainly tag titles I could see the group getting. But like we're using them as the special attractions. We're using them to kind of make these feuds and kind of build up other stars and all that. Like we kind of did that with Alpha Academy, not Alpha Academy, sorry, with American Made. Even though they lost that feud, we still got American Made out of it. And that's kind of what we're going to be getting here is like the Final Testament finally getting something to kind of dig into and like enhance Karrion Cross, mainly Karrion Cross. Like Authors of Pain, they'll be fine. They're always going to be fine because they are a dominant tag team. You just need to actually have them be part of the tag team division, but that's a different story for another time. But yeah, this is mainly to help Karrion Cross and build him up to be that single star that he can and should be. Because like when he was on NXT, he was kind of a big deal for a bit. I mean, I remember people being outraged when he finally made the move up to Raw, and he basically gets squashed by Jeff Hardy because of a random roll up. And it's like, hold on, this guy who's not only our NXT champion, but he's been on an undefeated streak for the better part of like a few months, and he loses to a roll up from Jeff Hardy of all people. Like nothing against Jeff Hardy, but like Jeff Hardy, you're at a point of your career where you should be putting people over.
Yeah.
Not winning by a roll up like that, and then forcing Karrion Cross to wear a gimp mask and not have Scarlett with him, which was so freaking stupid. But we're beyond those times. We're past those times. So what I'm expecting from this, because like we haven't really touched on the Miz during all this, but like
Yeah.
I feel like with the Miz, he's there to help Cross. He's there to help elevate Cross in a different aspect than what Uncle Howdy's doing. Because like with Uncle Howdy, yeah, exactly. Who is the Miz? Well, I'm not gonna tell you. You can Google him. How about that?
I feel like the Miz is playing a key role of bringing attraction or attention to Karrion Cross and helping bounce off the chemistry in the promo where people can actually pay attention to Karrion Cross
Yeah.
and not zone go to sleep. Go like, it's sweet dreams time. No, it's not.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for Karrion Cross and the Miz. The Miz at his point of life, if he wants to go back to the main event picture, he can. He could do he could help elevate others. He's already at this point in his career that has been almost 20 years in what he has put already.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was leading to. It's like, Miz is helping Karrion Cross with like the character work and like the promo work and all that stuff. Whereas Uncle Howdy and like the rest of the Wyatts, they're helping with building up the in-ring work and like bringing in the intensity and like all that, like the in-ring booking and all that stuff. So I'm excited for what we're probably going to get. I'm assuming we're going to get some sort of stipulation with a singles match with Karrion Cross against Uncle Howdy, or
Yeah.
even if it's Uncle Howdy versus The Miz and all that. There's going to be some sort of stipulation added to a singles match that's going to end up getting everyone involved. I mean, hell, the singles match could probably be Uncle Howdy and The Miz, but I mean, The Miz didn't pin Uncle Howdy here. It was Karrion Cross.
Mhm.
So it could be a thing where it's like, the end goal part is The Miz, and Uncle Howdy just has to get through Karrion Cross with it, which, that's also a possibility as well. So I'm looking forward to it. Sounds like the rest of the team is looking forward to what we have in store for the future for Karrion Kross and the Final Testament and the Wyatt Six. But we're going to move on now. We're going to dive into something that's got some more meat on the bones about like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20 plus years of history to kind of build upon. We have CM Punk and Seth Rollins. We're starting the build. We're starting it, which means we're going to have a slow burn with all of this. And we're going to be diving into like some history with them and some real life history too. Now, tonight was a story of two parts when it deals with like CM Punk and WWE and Seth Rollins and all that. So first of all, we have this sit down interview with CM Punk and Jackie Redmond. First of all, Jackie starts off by literally asking what everybody else wants to know. Hey, what's the favor from Paul Heyman? But it's a bit more personal, and Punk's just gonna hold on to that until the time comes. So fine, whatever. Just keep that little Chekhov's gun in your pocket, and we'll revisit that at a later date. But now we're going to talk about Seth Rollins, and he kind of runs down a little bit of their history about how like Seth is desperately trying to be like the top 10, like in people's top 10 list when it comes to professional wrestlers. Unfortunately, he was on the only top 10 list he was on was those that are about to get fired. And he goes into like this history about like when Punk was 16, he tried to get like free wrestling classes from Punk and all that, and Punk basically trying to put down Seth Rollins by being like a B plus player or like a B tier player compared to Punk's S tier and all that, and how Punk basically had to shield Rollins from a lot of stuff when he was coming up. But I really want to hear from you guys because both of you guys have different perspectives and different, mainly just different perspectives when it comes to like CM Punk and Seth Rollins and the history that not only they share, but the history that you both have with the whole overall world of professional wrestling. So, Vash, we're going to start with you. Tell me what did you think of this, mainly this CM Punk part of the story tonight?
If anybody's seen The Incredibles, it reminded me of the supervillain by the end of the film, who was a fan first of Mr. Incredible.
MJF.
Yeah.
Uh,
Look, that feud was good. Like that feud was good.
It was great. It was great. It felt very personal to
But
home
yeah.
for MJF in that aspect. Like he played out very well.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to Seth, I really like how with CM Punk adding this interview, I love how he first started off from what a lot of the audience and timeline was saying that before this didn't have enough feud to start off with. Now they're adding like I feel like CM Punk was adding a lot of prequel storylines in the past that could fill in gaps, and that's what he did. Like us finding out that Seth wanted to learn from CM Punk for free. I didn't know that. That was news for me. I'm like, oh, never heard about this information actually to be true or real. So this is something new to me. And even Seth acknowledging that in the middle of the ring, saying, hey, yeah, guys, I actually want to learn from CM Punk. I reached out to him for free. At 6 years old, your boy Seth Rollins had no money. Well, what do you expect to learn from the best guy in the world, the greatest person, asking for free? And I get that, and I respect that. At least he tried. At least he did his best to learn. When it comes to how my perspective on this as a fan, I am a fan of both. I grew up with CM Punk, watching him from the best in the world with Paul Heyman, his fights with John Cena, his feud with all these other wrestlers, and with The Rock and everything else. I have seen the beginning of Seth Rollins with the Shield. I miss his middle time with the Authority and all that. I missed that. I heard of it, knew of it, but I came back in his later half of the career. So when it comes to this feud, I really am invested because I've loved both of the superstars and loved their character work. Who am I gonna vote for? Who am I gonna choose when the time comes? I do not fucking know. So do not ask me. That's a tough question. But
Both.
I'm really excited to where could this cook. And right now, so far, starting already in December, from what we know, and hoping to see that this might be the story and feud of these two superstars coming at WrestleMania. So far, from this being the start of it, I'm very happy about it.
Okay. All right. All right. All right, Drop. It's time for you to lay down some knowledge on us. Same question for you. Let me know your perspective on all this as we start off with the CM Punk side of things.
So, one of the things I really like about this segment right here is I like how Punk is giving us some realism when it comes to this feud between him and CM Punk. I mean, between him and Seth Rollins. Because when you put it in that direction, it actually adds like more heart to the feud, if that makes any sense, where it's like,
Yeah.
you could take some things that actually happened in real life when it came to their overall relationship with one another and insert it inside that feud so it feels real, which it is, and it just drags you in because there's just something about getting emotionally invested when you know there's some legit things going on within that story itself. And I like how he brought that up when it came to the whole thing about Seth Rollins being young, wanted lessons from CM Punk, pretty much painting the picture like I brought up earlier. I wasn't memeing it or anything, but this is sort of reminding me of the whole MJF and CM Punk story in AEW, which is considered one of the best stories that AEW did when it comes to their overall feuds in the company. That's not me, tooting my own horn, but that's actually a very common thing a lot of people agree on. That's probably one of their best stories out of that company. And the reason why I bring that up is because it's kind of like we're seeing a different perspective of that. Not saying it's going to be exactly the same, but it's almost like we're seeing a perspective of that with Seth Rollins now, where it's like we're seeing somebody that looked up to CM Punk as their favorite wrestler in the entire universe. And after learning more, and we've seen this in movies and books too, where it's like once you find out who your favorite hero is, and once you find out who they truly are, sometimes it rubs you the wrong way, and sometimes it puts you in a different direction, which is why we see Seth Rollins acting the way he is, like we saw ever since they first came in contact with each other. So I liked that whole part of Punk within that interview itself, just adding layers, because I knew about the stuff over the years when it came to certain things being brought up in interviews and Seth calling CM Punk a cancer and all of that. But that's something I didn't know. So the fact that that's being thrown in there and Seth's not, and the fact that we're getting some personal things being thrown in here, that's honestly one of the things you do to create a very compelling story. And we know that they've been wanting to do this feud last year, but Punk got injured. But knowing how they're adding elements like this to get you really invested in it, I think it's a very smart move, and I really liked it. I liked it too. I liked it a lot.
And I think too, like it was kind of a blessing in disguise that we had to wait so long for this feud, because like now that we got the Drew McIntyre part of it, like it just kind of adds a lot more to Seth and Punk when we get that eventual match and all that. And I'm gonna use this opportunity to kind of transition now to Seth coming out to respond to CM Punk and kind of tells his side of everything, saying that, yeah, Punk. Yes, I did want to learn from you at 16. I had rose tinted glasses on, and I worshipped you. I was a big fan of you, all that stuff. But ever since you left the company, you started really bad mouthing us. You kept failing at things. I'm surprised you didn't mention like anything with like UFC or anything.
That's
but
coming up.
yeah, that is coming up, and I feel like a lot of people have run that well a lot, but it's coming up soon. But like how Punk has basically burned all these bridges for the past 10 years. But I think the thing that hurt Rollins the most, it seems like, was the fact that Punk apparently ghosted him. Whereas it's like, Seth felt like he was a friend to Punk and all that. And when Punk ended up leaving the company, now it's interesting that WWE is kind of twisting and rewriting their history a little bit.
Right? I feel like they're
Because-
rewriting it a bit.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe it's the fact that they don't really want to mention what happened with Punk, with him basically being told on his wedding day, "Hey, you're fired." Like I guess I don't know I don't think they want to like dive down that well. At least not yet.
Yeah.
I feel like not yet,
that
and
is gonna be
also
coming up. Yeah.
involving Vince at the time as well. So I think that's why as
Yeah.
well when right now the topic is a bit scarce. So and also question, do you guys think they will mention or beat around the bush about AEW as well?
I don't.
Oh,
think
they're
so.
gonna mention it.
Oh yeah,
they-
they
By
probably
name?
will.
No, by
They
name
kind of
or do you
have
think
to.
by name or do you think be around the bush,
They
but
might do- they'll probably-
vaguely?
They might do something similar to what Seth did with Cody or Roman did with Cody, where they might reference it but not say the name just to bring it up. Like I because when Seth was feuding with Cody, he was talking about how he went over and started a new company, did something with his friends, mentioned about Cody's even brought it up where he put the hammer to the throne and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which was a legit thing that Cody did. That was pretty much starting the era of AEW, saying, "Okay,
Yeah.
we're the flagship show now. We don't give a fuck about you." Which WWE
Yeah.
back then, obviously they were going to war with them at that point. So it's like
Yeah.
with Seth, I can easily see something like that being brought up. Where, for example, let's say Seth brings up something to Punk, where he's like, "Oh, you came back to wrestling. Everybody got so excited, then you caused a lot of problems. You got into a whole bunch of fights, and here you are. You probably gonna end up saying, "Oh, here you are, probably gonna end up doing the same thing again." Yada this, yada that. They probably will pull some parts into that because that's one of the things I've noticed recently with this new administration of WWE is the fact that they're not afraid to bring up certain things because
Right.
especially when it comes to commentary, when it comes to certain things. Even wrestlers that aren't even in the company anymore, like how New Day brought up Edge last week, how they brought up like Daniel Bryan when it came to Roman's accolades of people up against. They're not afraid to bring up certain things or people because if it was Vince here, Vince would, have a little scratch card where you can only say certain things. Now there's literally no limits. So they're able to say certain things they want. So I don't think they're gonna mention AEW by name. AEW does it, but that's not their thing. But I don't think WWE is gonna do it. But they definitely will point fingers. Sammy did it all like a couple years ago, but
Yeah. I could see if anybody were to mention AEW by name
Punk.
again in WWE, I could see it being Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Because when you think back to like his feud with Cody, that was also before certain allegations came out, and another geriatric piece of crap was still in power and all that.
Yeah.
But I mean, and again, they don't really mention the company at all on commentary, even when they're running. Like, I mean, Michael Cole has mentioned New Japan multiple times.
Mad times.
Yeah. So it's like every so often, if they mention AEW, like on the rare occasion, and like actually mention them by name.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of tie that in with like the whole blood aspect of things. It's just like, okay, well, we're not going to use blood all the time in the match, only on special occasions. So it could be one of those things where it's like, okay, this feud can call for something with that, but like we're still like very early on, like only in the minuscule, like planting the seeds of this feud going forward. Because like, I mean, this is this is a Mania match. Like, this is going to be a Mania match.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get teases here and there, and like they might confront each other, like let's say at the Royal Rumble or something. But yeah, their singles match is going to be at WrestleMania, and
Especially what was
the
Seth
fact that we're
said.
starting. What's up?
Especially what Seth said about him getting main eventing WrestleMania before him.
Yes.
That's almost like
Yep.
a spoiler right there.
Yeah.
In a way, I'm surprised he didn't be like, I made it WrestleMania twice. Well, actually, no, scratch that, because
Once.
he did mention that he did everything that Punk did twice. So, okay, never mind then. But like, when it comes to Seth, especially with his part of the promo, being like, you know, you burn all these bridges, you just, you know, you pissed everybody off, and then you come back to this big open reception. It's just like, why are you doing this? And I like how Sami Zayn, I like how he's like this bridge between like trying to get people to like change their perspective on a lot of people. Like, he's been trying that with Roman Reigns, which, I mean, I've already said my piece about like, why are we helping him and all that, and so is Seth and all that stuff. But it's like, I like how we're involving Sami Zayn in all this too, because like, he's the type of guy that will give somebody a second chance. I mean, how many second chances has he given Kevin Owens?
Yeah, he's about to give him a third chance sometime, like 6 months from now.
Well, Kevin's not going to give him any more chances.
Yeah, so
with the way he is right now. But like, and I think that's what I really like about just everything going on in WWE. Like, the fact that Roman and the Bloodline, all their stuff has bled in and just made its way into almost every story, like at least every like main story that we're having with this. Like, it involves Punk, it involves Cody, it involves Drew, it involves Jay, Jimmy, Sammy. Did I already say Rollins? I don't know if I did. I'll just say it again. Seth Rollins. It involves Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa. Like, it involves so many people because of what he did, what the Bloodline did, and how long that they were in power. And it's like, okay, now that we're doing kind of a redemption thing, it's just like, okay, it makes sense that people are questioning this. And I like how, like, even though Sammy, you know, apologized to Rollins, I like how he said that that Seth is sounding a lot like Drew when it comes to CM Punk, because he is, because they're both right in their aspects. And like, it kind of ties in too with like, I saw this tweet earlier tonight, and I shared it with you guys too. But it's like, people were wondering, why is Drew involving himself with Sammy in all of this? And it's just like, well, that makes sense. It's within character, because if you remember back when Jay came to Raw, Drew was not on board with it. He did not like that, because Jay was part of the family that screwed me over multiple times and all that. So it's like, we're in this position with a lot of these characters where it's just like, okay, why should we be helping them? You know, and this not only ties in with Roman, but Punk. Because again, just like what Seth was saying, Punk spent the better part of 10 years bashing WWE, like talking mad shit on WWE, to the point where like there were lawsuits going out from Punk to WWE for his treatment there. Like, that's partially why Seth called him a cancer, because he tried to kill WWE, not only just in like lawsuits, but going to another company and trying to build them up and put WWE down. Like, I think the point I'm just trying to get across is like, things just make sense with how people and characters are going about their lives and all that, and how they're reacting to these people trying to be better. But it's just like, it's gonna be a really hard road that you're gonna go down. But I had mentioned Sami Zayn, so I'm gonna pass it on to you guys with Sami Zayn's involvement with this, and I guess you can kind of tie in Drew's involvement with this. How are we feeling about like them going forward, and like anything to deal with like Punk and Seth like involved with all this. I want to hear from you guys now. I guess mainly like Sammy's talk with Seth tonight.
I honestly think when it comes to Seth Rollins, because I've known him for so long, Seth
Mhm.
Rollins is plotting right. I feel like he's
Mhm.
plotting. He's letting things align the way he wants right now.
Yeah.
Because if he's going down this direction with Punk and he's going to just cause a lot of chaos and destruction once we dive even deeper into this feud, it would make sense for this to be like a slow heel turn or
Mhm.
Seth Rollins, especially if you're trying to unleash a lot of hatred. Because when you had MJF versus CM Punk in AEW, you had MJF as the heel, and MJF was letting out a lot of frustration. CM Punk was the
Mhm.
face in that feud. So, I'm not saying it's the exact same story, but if you're going to go down that direction and have Seth deal with his obsession with Punk, does that really make sense for a babyface to have that sort of complex? No, it would make sense for
Mhm.
a heel to have that sort of complex, because at least with that, he can say more outlandish things and he can just tear Punk apart limb by limb. And I feel like that would be great. But I definitely feel like he's plotting, because the way that he walked away from Sammy, slowly put his glasses on, walked
Mhm.
backstage, went, even said Sammy's like, "Thank you, Sammy. I could focus on Punk. Now deal with what you're gonna do." Like I definitely feel like everything's done by design, and it's
Oh
like
yeah.
we spoke about before, how everything revolves around Roman. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if there's some sort of alliance going on between Seth Rollins and Drew, because they never really had any issues with each other at all whatsoever. The only thing
Yeah.
that was a problem earlier this year between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre was the fact that they had a Mania match and Seth was so obsessed with the bloodline, he wasn't really paying attention to Drew in that scenario. But when
Yeah.
we got to the match itself, it was pretty much friendly competition at that point. Even once Drew won the title, he says, "You take care of that," stuff like that. He wasn't like releasing a lot of frustration or anger. Drew didn't
Mhm.
start charging after Seth and start beating the shit out of him. There never really was any issues there. And one of the things I
Yeah.
really like what WWE has been doing recently, especially when it comes to Kevin Owens and Drew McIntyre, and probably with Seth Rollins now, is that now you have heels that actually have legitimate cases when it comes to why they perform the actions that they do. And I
Yeah.
definitely feel like we're heading down that direction with Seth Rollins. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that January 6th episode, once we have the Netflix premiere, everything starts coming out, or the Royal Rumble, everything starts coming out, and we finally see things come together where it's like, okay, now we know the truth behind everything. Seth obviously looks at Sammy as a joke, just like how Drew looks at everybody else
Mhm.
involved in the situation as a joke. Like he said, he was away, he took some time to reflect what was going on. He looked at Survivor Series, he saw CM Punk team at Roman Reigns. Obviously, it just makes perfect sense. Like you look at
Yeah.
Seth Rollins and Drew, both have issues with Roman, both have issues with CM Punk. Why wouldn't they get along and try to create something so they
Mhm.
themselves, just like how Punk is trying to get rid of, just like how Seth's on, Drew was on a mission to get rid of Punk all year. Seth is now on a mission to do the exact same thing. Not saying we're gonna get another extension of Drew and Punk, but why not just have them work together if all this issues border to come down to Roman? It just makes
Yeah.
perfect sense to me if they head down that direction. And then you throw Kevin Owens in the mix, you never know, he might factor into this little alliance, considering that he himself, first interaction he had with Punk, just looked at him, knocked over his shirts in a segment we saw, and
That
just
was
looked at him
funny.
and walked away. And then looking at whatever
Yeah.
he's dealing with right now, it just makes perfect sense. Now that you're going to factor Cody being on Monday Night Raw now, we still haven't gotten that interaction
Mhm.
between Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, knowing that they went to war together to take down The Rock and Roman and the rest of the bloodline. And Drew McIntyre would probably have a say in that as well. I mean, it just makes perfect sense to me. I definitely feel like things are heading down that direction. It might not be now, might not be next week, but I definitely feel like that's the payoff that we're going to be getting towards the end, so we can delve deeper into this next chapter of what's going on.
Yeah, because there's a lot of hatred going on, like, and it's mainly stemming from Punk and Roman, which, it's kind of funny that Punk is like on that spectrum with Roman, especially considering the phrase "needle mover" was used like a couple years ago, and I think by Punk too. Like, he had
Yeah,
made a comment about like, "Oh, I'm gonna be moving that. I'm a needle mover" or something like that. Like, he called himself that, saying like, "Oh, now that I'm gonna be part of AEW, all eyes are gonna be coming towards AEW and all that." And
yeah,
Roman even had a shirt that came out that said "needle mover" and all that. So it's like, it's just kind of funny how, we're mentioning both of them in like this same, like, almost main storyline picture and all that. But yeah, I mean, again, everything just makes sense. Like, motivations make sense, characters make sense. Um, like, everything just makes sense. And yeah, if we do get a team up with Seth and Drew, I mean, there's that phrase, "the enemy of my enemy is my friend." I mean, they may not have seen eye to eye a lot in the past, but they at least see somewhat more eye to eye now, because in their mind it's fuck Roman and fuck CM Punk. Let's get rid of both of them and all that.
exactly.
But yeah, so like, again, Sammy apologized for last week for, wrongfully accusing Seth and all that. They kind of bury the hatchet. I do agree that I think, Seth is plotting something.
Yeah,
So it's just like, he's about to pull an Eisen right here, all according to Keikaku and all that bullshit. But like, I like how we easily transition from that to Sammy being like, "Okay, look, I talked to Adam Pearce. We're gonna have a match, you and me, Drew, this Saturday at Saturday night's main event." And then Drew attacked Sammy, and apparently they had a brawl too
yeah,
backstage. I must have missed that when they
yeah.
came
I
back
did
from
too.
commercial.
I only saw clips.
Yeah, yeah. So their match is gonna be intense on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I mean, again, just everything just makes sense, and I love when things just make sense easily and all that stuff. But yeah, all right. Well, let's kind of move on now, because we're at the beginning stages of Punk and Rollins, and Drew and Sammy. They're just kind of starting their thing too. So again, we're in the early stages of these feuds going on and moving forward. So moving forward as well, we got our women's IC title tournament continuing on, plodding forward and all that. We have another triple threat match. We have Lyra Valkyria versus Ivy Nile versus Zelina Vega. And if you remember my comments from earlier, this match also suffered because, hey, let's start the match. A minute later, commercial break, no picture in picture. Great. Thanks for all that. But like, what I saw from it, it was pretty good. There was a nice spot. I think spot for me for the match was there was like a double German suplex that Ivy did to both Zelina and Lyra. So that looked really cool. But the other one too. So I guess apparently Joe Tessitore is an anime fan.
Yeah,
I didn't know that one.
Wade Barrett kind of called him out on commentary. He's just like, "Oh, I know you like." I can't really do a good Wade Barrett impression. But he's just like, "Oi, I already know that you're a big anime fan, so you'll know this because Zelina told me to say this." And he struggled. Like,
He
there was a
butchers
part
so
of him-
bad. He butchers
Oh,
so bad.
no. So like, no, he said the name right, but the way he said it, he was trying so hard not to say it wrong that it came out so weird. He
It
was
did.
like Todoroki, and it's just like, oh man, okay, cool.
And
Neat,
then
alright.
he said it, My Hero Academia. Like he said it like right, but he added such a weird tone that he tried not to fuck up, and it was hilarious, and I loved it.
Yeah,
But I
but
appreciate Waybear for letting us know new information that Joe's a fan of anime because I didn't know that.
yeah. So that was cool, but I mean,
Yeah.
overall, like the match was fine. Lyra won, which I mean that's fine too, you know, because I feel like this women's IC title is kind of made for Lyra,
Yeah.
but I mean we'll have to we'll dive into that, you know, when we get to the finals and all that. Kind of sucks for Zelina because I did want her to kind of move forward in the tournament and, you know, be able to show out just a little bit more, but again, mid card titles for the women are perfect for people like Zelina, so that way she is able to show out and is able to kind of have some sort of compensation for the work that she's putting in and all that. And Ivy Nile, I mean, she'll get her chance too. She's still like relatively new on the main roster, so her time will come as well. So, what do you guys think of this match going in?
Drop, go ahead first, because I know that you're a big fan of Lyra, and I know that you was going for her to win this, to win this match. I will obviously chat. I'm a spoiler. I was a fan going for Zelina Vega. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of her, and I've seen her podcast. I've seen her,
Yeah.
her Nausea anime, her podcast
Yeah.
with Dakota Kai, and I've been a fan of what she has done since Backlash against Rhea. So many cool events, but I'm still congratulations for Lyra. But Job, go ahead first.
So when we were heading into this, obviously, you know, a lot of people were looking into Lyra or Zelina advancing in this. I didn't really see Ivy advancing, and also it makes a lot more sense that she's not, considering that she's more than likely going to SmackDown. They wouldn't have showed us what was going on Friday if she wasn't going to be heading there. So
Yeah.
coming into this, you obviously had two options to choose from. And the whole point of this tournament really is just to give certain girls that don't really have as much screen time a time to shine on the show. So regardless who wins the tournament at the end of the day, that person eventually is going to get that shot down the line to eventually get that shot with the title. But the reason why, like, of course I'm happy that Lyra won tonight because she's one of my personal favorite upcoming stars on the roster. But one of the reasons why I'm sort of, I can't say sort of, one of the reasons why I'm convinced that she might win this tournament, and it's nothing against Kairi Sane because she's also my second pick out of this whole entire thing. It's mainly because of how big of a push they gave her right away when she came onto the main roster. Because if they wanted to take some time with her and put her on the back burner for a little bit and wait for some time within the year to do something with her, they could have done that. But the fact that they put her inside of the Queen of the Ring tournament and had her go to the finals against Nia Jax, that told me straight off the bat that they had some plans for her. And that was even referenced that she had a strong start earlier this year.
Yep.
And I feel like this right here is a continuation of that, where they're going to push her through the tournament. And then you throw in Dakota in there. Now she has stuff going on with Pure Fusion Collective. Could that be an underdog story? Could that possibly be something you're playing out within the tournament for her to win? Maybe, but that's also kind of telling me that, okay, now Dakota has other things she needs to worry about on her plate, because it's not like she's going up against one person. Now she has three people after her at this very moment. So it's like, okay, now Dakota's involved with that, and not entirely sure what will be going on with Kairi Sane and Io after Saturday night's main event or whatever. But it just seems to me that, just to go back what I said, that they're just trying to continue that push that she got earlier this year, and that's why I'm pretty confident she'll probably end up being the first one crowned with this.
Okay. All right. Well, Vash, rebuttal, since you're
Yeah.
on the Zelina Vega
Nice.
train with it.
He has a nice background, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, look,
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big fan, It's a Delina Vega, big fan right here,
Mhm.
I'm not Puerto Rican, but
Yep.
I support her. But look,
Exactly.
jokes aside, Delina Vega, I really thought she was gonna win. She had to push. She's really been pushing it. Me and Whawkins are part of the ZV Army, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very supportive. It's very cute. The fandom is very cute. I really was hoping to see Zelina Vega get that push. She's been, uh, pushed, then hold, pushed, then held back throughout since Backlash. I was hoping for a
Mhm.
push for Zelina. I know that Zelina will get a chance for the midcard title when it comes down the line in the next month or two. So I know there'll be a chance for her to get that midcard champion by next year summer for her to get that. I can't wait for Zelina to get that opportunity. But if Lyra does win the end of the road, also maybe they didn't want Dakota and Zelina to go at the finals yet. Because I know down the line that'll also be a good feud. Any good feuds are when they're actually good friends in outside because they could bring real life stories like Zelina Vega and Dakota Kai. They're real friends outside, and if there's a feud for them in the final, it would have been much better if it could have been built up if one of them had the title, and that would have been a good opportunity for them. So I could hold off and wait. Congratulations for Lyra Valkyria either way. She deserves it. She's been great in the NXT. With Becky Lynch, she helped her to get elevated, so it showed the rising star that Lyra is since she got that push early in the year, like Drop brought up earlier when it came to the Queen of the Ring tournament. So it showed that the creatives, Paul, the people hired in the roster believes that Lyra is a future star. So overall, congratulations for her. Hopefully, Zelina gets her push when it comes to the midcard title in the 2025, so it can finally lead her over for the main title because I know she does deserve in the future.
Neat. Yep. All right, cool. Well, we're going to move on to our final segment here. Revolving around well, I can't really call them the New Day because
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. There are the
no,
New Day. There are
no,
the New Day.
no,
No, you
no,
cannot say the
no.
names. They never change.
They're
It's a
not
new
the
There's
way.
still
New Day.
positivity.
No,
They're
definitely not.
They are not positivity, good sir. They
Yeah.
are nothing
It's a new way.
even
There you go.
close. Yeah.
Yo, the Colts
the new way.
Colts that they came in, it was hilarious. The whole vibe change. Wolf walking around like oh big dog. Like, yeah, I got this, and it's hilarious. Xavier was bumping into Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes like, I'm disappointed in you. You guys, you guys should have never done this. And then Xavier just walks away like, who's he talking about? He was never like that in high school.
Yeah.
Bro was never the top star, the jock and everything. I'm like, since when did they go to high school together? Like, is that news that I totally forgot about? The fuck?
Yeah, I don't remember that part, but they probably did. They probably didn't. I don't know. Who knows? I don't care. I could Google it right now, but I'm not going to. So yeah, so we're supposed to hear from Kofi and Xavier Woods about, hey, explain yourselves. Why did you guys do this? And even Kathy Kelly tries in the back, but nah, you're a biased journalist. We're not gonna have an
Cody.
interview with you. No. Instead, Woods, he doesn't care if you're John Cena's best friend or not. He's going to take that camera from you so that way they can go and talk to the people, the lovely people out there. And
Our boy still got raw from camera 6. I love it when Joe said like, "Yo, man, your camera 6 is still be live. Your camera 6."
Can't wait to see what John Cena says to that.
I know, right?
Oh, how do you
have
mess
some-
with my guy Stu? Can't mess with my
He'll
boy.
He'll have some sort of cryptic Instagram post about it that
Yeah.
nobody will know what it is.
Yeah.
Imagine it. Imagine if you actually post a picture of Stu.
That'd be great. But like, I was kind of hoping for this. What would have been really cool is if they just did this whole segment with Woods holding the camera. I
Yes.
thought that's what they were gonna
Yes.
do, but then like we kept cutting to like the hard cam and like the all the other cameras in the building and all that. It's just like
I felt like
I,
maybe it got
I-
too
yeah.
complicated for him to go with the camera inside the ring. Probably he had to put it in the middle and then grab it.
Maybe.
But I wish they did it because I'm the same vision as you. I felt like
Mhm.
if Woods was able to have the camera in the ring, still hold on to it, even if he told him, scream at Stu, come here, stand in this corner. You hold on to it. I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna get back to you. You
Mhm.
stay there, all right? If not, I'm gonna smack you. Like, show
Yeah.
that aggressiveness.
Exactly. But yeah, so they get to the ring, they try to talk, but they're just getting drowned out by boos. Like we've reached like dirty Dom levels of boos for Woods and Kofi.
The New Day. Who we are? The New Day.
They are not the New Day. So anyways,
Look, I
um
want to say congratulations to them as well because this is the most heat they have ever gotten in the past 10 years.
Mhm.
The last time I remember how much heat they have gotten is when Big E got the belt or during Kofi Mania. Those are the last two times I remember the most pop they have gotten in so long.
mhm.
And for this to be the most type of biggest heat the New Day or for other people, Kofi and Xavier Woods have ever gotten, this is amazing for them. So congratulations to hopefully this is the vision that they were hoping for this type of twist to go against Big E and the type of crowd.
Mhm.
So congrats to them. But I'm hoping it works in their favor and best of luck because to get them over this now in the future and for Big E during the Rumble, really, really curious to see how we're gonna lead up to now until February 1st.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that big. I am convinced that Big E's returning. I'm sorry. You can call it coping. You can call it whatever the hell you want. I am thoroughly convinced that this is leading towards Big E's return
Yep. Definitely.
because that return probably at the Rumble is gonna be monumental.
Yep.
Like just hearing the crowd tonight, and I mean, I love too, like the one line that just sticks with me is, and it was Kofi, I believe that was said this, after 10 years of positivity, y'all are mad for just one day, and it's like that really ties in with this whole idea, and it's like this whole philosophy I have too, where it's just like, you could be like the best person ever. Like you could be like you can give to charity, you can, go to your local food shelter and donate all the food you want, like you could do all that wonderful good stuff, but it only takes one day. It takes one moment
To fuck up
to
everything.
completely obliterate your reputation.
Yeah.
Whether it's an accident, you did it on purpose, whatever. No matter what, it takes just one moment, and then it'll take you an entire lifetime to come back from it. No matter what you do, it's gonna take forever for you to get back to that. And it's gonna be the same with Kofi and Woods here. I mean, it's kind of on similar levels with Roman. It's like how like you have a lot of growth that you need to do. You have a lot of like apologies to make. You have a lot of stuff to just make up for the past like 4 years of you being around, dude. But like that line just sticks to me so much because it's true. Like it could just takes one day to ruin your whole entire reputation. But Drop, I'm going to transition to you because like me and Vash have been on this for a few minutes. Tell me how you feel about like this kind of short and sweet segment, I mean, it did what it needed to do.
Yeah,
Like,
it didn't need to go
I don't
on.
think we really needed more
No.
reasoning other than what we got last week.
Yeah, it had the limit it needed tonight, because like
Mhm.
literally, like what's the point of having him on there longer? Because the whole point of, because we got that moment last week, now we're seeing the aftermath of that, and just because, and when you send them out there and you hear all those boos, that adds even more to the story, even without them saying anything. That's just showing the whole environment now. Not only them, like, being booed from everybody there during the show, but you even see people on the show not even wanting to converse from them, almost like they lost their respect
Mhm.
because of what they did. Because before, they spreaded positivity everywhere. Now nobody wants to be around them whatsoever. Even our WWE champion Cody Rhodes, he even went straight up to them and told them as it is. So it's like, you have the
Yeah.
world champ saying that to your face. You obviously know that you did something wrong. And one of the things that I said earlier when I was like talking to some of my friends, I was like, one of the best things that they did is, if they want Kofi and Woods to get an incredible amount of heat, you use Big E, because a lot of people love Big E.
Mhm.
They've been waiting for him to come back for years on end. So you use him as a way to turn them heel, because that's how you get a lot of boos when they talk down to him, when they say all these nasty things. That's how you get this level of hatred that they got tonight, and it only plays more into the story. And and just adding on to what you said, like when Xavier said, let's cut to the case, you're not coming back. They obviously brought
Yeah.
that up for a reason, because obviously a lot of us have been wondering what his whereabouts are for years, but they're obviously playing into that for a reason, because what's Big
Mhm.
E's story now? Big E's story is proving Xavier and Kofi wrong by coming back, by being a competitor within WWE, and more than likely having that pop during the Royal Rumble. And the best way to do it, he eliminates both of them at the
Yeah.
Royal Rumble, so you could start that WrestleMania feud with them. I wouldn't be surprised if this turns into a handicap match potentially, or
Yep. Yep.
that's
Yep.
actually, yeah, it more than likely,
Yeah.
because realistically, I mean, Big E I would assume Big E would be able to survive a handicap match.
Oh yeah, I
So
think so.
yeah, so it's like more than likely you'll get something like that where you have the two of them against Big E, and by them talking down to, actually, yeah, it makes a lot more sense to have it be a handicap match, because they're going to be like, okay,
Mhm.
you're not the shit anymore, you can't do anything, you're still injured, yada this, yada that, and by Big E backing up his muscle and everything, he can use all that strength to prove them wrong once he has both of them into the ring. And you're looking at how
Yeah.
long the story has been told from this year all the way up until WrestleMania. That's long-term storytelling. Not even this year, but just 10 years, actually 11 years worth of story at that point by
Mhm.
next year. That's a very long and compelling story. And that's something a lot of people can get behind, because they've been fans of them all these years. So I'm pretty confident that Big E's coming back. Like, I can't even say that I'm 50-50 on it. I'm actually pretty confident he's coming back. I
Yeah.
wouldn't even be surprised if he's already cleared. We're just playing into the story until that Rumble happens. And then, because they're going to play
Mhm.
into this, he's probably already cleared. Obviously, they're not going to let us know, but you won't find out that answer until you hear whenever he comes out at the Rumble.
Yeah. And I'm hoping too with the story, because like there's a part of the story too with all this where like you could see it where, because Big E, even though yes he should be wanting to get revenge for what they said and did to him, but like I feel like there's still part of him that believes that Xavier and Kofi are still good. Like there's still good in them. There's still something he can bring out from them to kind of bring them back to, with lack of a better term, bring them back to the light side and all that stuff. And I feel like that could play very well with a handicap match. Because, like, yes, Big E's strong. He's big and powerful and all that stuff. But, like, the numbers game can get to people. And if Xavier and Kofi end up beating him down enough, like, just that act alone could continue building that story, like, just within the match itself. And to the point where, like, Kofi and Woods can finally have that realization that, like, maybe we were big dicks, you know? Because, like, I also just think back to their facial expressions last week. Because, like, Woods, especially Woods looked away from E when he was talking to him. Like, Woods, because I feel like Woods, I mean, this might sound a little bad, but I feel like he's basically like the younger brother to them.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't want, like, the younger brother doesn't want to be convinced by the other to, like, I guess fold or whatever. So it's like, he looked away because he knew that if he looked at Big E, he would not be able to go through with what they were doing last week. So it's like, okay, there's still some goodness in there. It's just right now they're both frustrated. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to move forward, and their only way to move forward is to just leave their friend behind. And it's going to come to a point where it's just like, okay, what we did was wrong. We should not be leaving people behind like that. We're supposed to be the New Day, not Woods and Kofi. Like, nah, be the New Day. It's a New Day, yes it is. Man. But you know what? That was Raw. Like, again, this short segment was short and sweet to the point, but that's kind of what Raw was. Like, all these segments, they didn't really overstay their welcome too much. They just kind of they fit really well in their time, at least until we got to the main event. I feel like they kind of had to rush to get some stuff done, and